didn't start out thinking about medicine, though, as a career. Actually, I was aiming toward being a priest in the Catholic Church, so that when I was 12, I got the calling. I got the calling straight from God himself, be a priest. Then I went to a seminary, and I was there for 4 years. That's in lieu of high school. And after 4 years of that, I decided I was going to be a Jesuit and go follow up work that was done by a man named Matteo Ricci, a mathematician and Jesuit priest. The first non-Chinese person to enter the Forbidden City in what was then Peking. But that's what got me started, and you need something. You need a lodestone, you need a shining star, something to pull you forward. I entered the Jesuits, but then I got real sick. I think it was an overload for me, as a spiritual overload. I had a vision. It's still just as crisp as the day I had the vision. I don't know if one vision makes you a mystic or not, but this one was powerful. And after that, I kind of collapsed physically. Yeah. So I ended up in the hospital, and one of the doctors taking care of me, I told him I was kind of a lost soul, because I had planned all my conscious life going to China and converting these Chinese heathens, with respect, like Matteo Ricci. And now it was all gone. Well, he said, why don't you be a doctor? I said, I think you could do that. You could move some of what you had been, preparing in your thinking, the fiber of your being, into medicine. Make it a mission. I've always been fortunate that I learned fast and retain. So it wasn't that hard. The hard part would be raising the money, because by that time I transferred to the University of Wisconsin. It was cheaper. Price point perfect. There everything was better, because I married at the end of college prior to going to medical school. So my wife worked, and everything was totally different. The Navy was very, very good for me. They paid me during my last year of medical school. Internship. I got a choice, try to match, got my choice, which was the one in suburban Washington, D.C., the National Naval Medical Center. Most all the doctors you would meet who were in the Navy would tell you they were reserve, USNR. No, I was regular Navy, like the people from Annapolis, the Academy people. Well, the Navy was very formative. And a friend, a colleague I was working with, he said, why don't you look at this textbook? I think this is something you might be interested in. So I looked at it and I thought, yes, it's kind of weird. I couldn't say that I ever thought of that as a career choice, which is radiation oncology, treating cancer with radiation. That did not sound like anything I would have been interested in, but it addressed big problems. But these are big problems. They don't go away on their own. And you can tell how good you are if you're competitive, compared to the other people. Do your patients do worse, same as, or better? Some of my success is because I can focus on a person. And the phone can ring and the stock market can crash. I'm focused on that person. I was a resident very early on, and the one professor said, what we have, among other problems, he said, we implant these radioactive grains, sealed sources, pellets, that kind of thing, little teeny things, look like teeny tiny seeds, like poppy seeds. We put them in the tumor-bearing area. It's a kind of an invasive procedure. The seeds migrate around, and in truth, they don't hold that pattern or matrix long enough to deliver the dose the way you want it. Yeah. So I invented a way to put them in an absorbable material such that you put them in and they stayed long enough, and then the material was absorbed, and lo and behold, you delivered the whole dose on target with the matrix you desired. Well, it is referenced in the standard textbooks, which this fatty right here is. And here, for example, is number 103, Harter, DJ, Delclos, L, sealed sources in synthetic absorbable suture. The journal is Radiology, 1975, volume 116, page 727, and following. So a seminal paper because it's been referenced in the standard texts, and not just once, but repeatedly, edition after edition. I've been able actually to help people. And just like in the very beginning, choosing the field, I've been able to see where I need to work on something, where something's going right. Because remember, medicine isn't just theory, it isn't just technology, it isn't just an art. I mean, it's practical. You need to have the grounding in the practical application of these things. So people, crowning accomplishment, helping my family. My wife is not a well person, and I've been able to help her.
Well, you have to run the family, because if you're going to have a husband who has gone a lot, you can't be jealous of the fact that he's gone, and you have to carry on. I mean, if he has to leave in the middle of the dance recital or the swim meet, he's got to leave, or maybe he doesn't even get there. You have to carry forth and act as if it's a normal way of life, and not, oh, your father can't be here again. That's not good.
Diane was actually in hospice. All 4 of her doctors said she would not live but another couple of weeks. She doesn't remember it. She was too sick to remember that. Yeah.
I don't remember any of this.
And here she is, a miracle, truly. All 4 doctors declared it to be a miracle. When a doctor sees that he's made a grievous mistake, instead of saying, oh, I've made a mistake, they say, oh, it's a miracle. That didn't make Diane feel real good, though, because it's a little uneasy to be a miracle.
I can't understand why I can't remember any of it. I certainly remember the last year in total, but I don't remember that part.
I think it's the grace of God, So many people, who help you along the way. And sometimes, regrettably, you don't acknowledge it, or you don't ever, you have to pay it forward. That's what it comes down to. A word to describe my life: service. Yeah. And it started out as service to God, and Jesus, but service is the overriding thing. My father worked very, very hard. He had a lot of energy. So at a point, we lived on a farm. And he would work very, very hard in Milwaukee and then drive all the way out to the Kettle Moraine area of Wisconsin. Long drive. In those days, little tiny, narrow, thready roads, And hop on his tractor, put the lights on, and go plow a field for potatoes. A terrifically energetic man. But he had his own share of tragedy, and he kind of lugged it around with him. My mother was a very smart woman. Yeah, it's strange, but who taught me how to throw a ball? My mother. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Well, we always said, if we have epitaphs, and I don't think we will, because we're going to be interred at Arlington in the columbarium, the dovecote, where you got to be cremated first to fit in the little dovecote, And I don't think they give you much room for an epitaph, but we always kidded that mine would be the great provider and hers would be the great consumer.